You don't really understand why you travel until you travel, and the reason we travel is to test the assumption we have for a place.
Exposure to other cultures can play a really pivotal role in the way that you see the world.
As the saying goes, the world is a book, and if you don't travel, you only read one page.
That was one of the reasons why I came to ASU for my graduate studies. The travel was a big part of it.
At the design school, we understand design practice to be global. We aspire to educate the next generation of design leaders. We need to be able to put them in positions in which they see how the world works. To do that, we've created the Global Engagement Studios. The studios provide opportunities for students to travel in small groups with a faculty member to a variety of venues across the world, around the world.
I took a group of 9 students from the graduate department in the design school to the Netherlands as part of our course.
I went to Paris in the Global Engagement Studio.
I went to the Netherlands,
To Mexico.
Japan.
Beijing.
Venice and Milan.
Istanbul as a part of my global engagement studio.
One of the things that becomes really interesting is when you take somebody out of their environment and put them somewhere else. For instance, taking a student from Phoenix and putting them in Beijing into a culture that's completely different than their own. They begin to see the world a little differently.
One of the main things they've learned is to react by having conversation with whatever was unfamiliar to them. And that is a fantastic opportunity that our program is offering.
I believe as architects, our books lie out there in the open, unlike engineering and medical students do. Our job would be to re-implement our learnings through our travels into the current context.
The theme of our studio this semester is we're reducing environmental impact of our products. The trip was really beneficial to me because we got to see cities that think a lot more along those lines.
Really the big idea of the studio was to explore color. What we're working on is what I call color theory, or the interaction of color. I've got students now working from everything to setting up variations of a theme. I got a student working on color interaction of spices that come from Mexico. We have the group, what I call the group project, that we're all working on the color interaction. But even though there are these very sort of constrained projects, the variations that happen with them, I think, are really exciting.
Our studio is called a lapsus imaginis, so it means the gap in your imagination. We're creating an image of Istanbul, so we're applying that image to a very contemporary city of Las Vegas.
We're able to get excited about the project together and move it in the right direction.
Anytime you can go somewhere and learn something from people who are doing things that you want to do, it becomes really powerful.
Your travel experience is also made by the people you travel with. When you travel with them, you get to see the other perspective of things. You kind of realize there is a part you're missing in your design, and just being with them, they fulfill that part.
The students get to learn from each other, from each other's disciplines.
The first travel we do, it's into ourselves through the conversation we have with other disciplines. So already the traveling, it's happening in the class.
They have a whole different point of view. We're all students and teachers here. Like, our project is not collaborating with a company. To work with like designers that have been worked for years, it would be good for us.
A lot of college students don't really get that opportunity because the schoolwork is so busy, and then we're also paying for school, so that financial burden is on us. But to be built into a curriculum was really nice because it allowed us to go with someone who'd already been there before.
The nice thing about the Global Engagement Studios is that it's already taken care of within your tuition. So it's not like you have to worry about setting aside extra money and budgeting for that. It's already all rolled into it, which is admittedly really, really nice.
This was all covered under that umbrella. It wasn't the additional expense of the study abroad that you typically have to pay.
I think as design gets very meaningful if you bring those stories back with you. It enriches my design, this travel experience, but it also enriches me as a person.
Going to these places and seeing the way that other people live their lives and how we might be able to apply that to us has made my educational experience really rich, really deep. I definitely think that the Global Engagement Studios have done that for me.